Not craft and wrote mats. Hello everybody, welcome back. And today I thought I'd do another book review. I haven't done a book review for over a year now. And no, for those of you who followed me from the early days, I haven't broken my arm again. And that was the reason I did my book reviews before, was because I broke my arm and I couldn't actually do any knotting. But what I did was, a long time ago, over a year ago now, I did a book review on this particular book, which is Des Paulson's Not Craft, 28 Rope Work Projects. And so we've got this book here now. This is a more updated version. And to be honest, as a book, I recommend it. I mean, if I show you here, it covers rope mats, monkey's fists, rope mats, making a fender, and on the actual title here, it says that there are 60 rope work projects, including 20 mat designs. So, you know, to be honest, for those of you who love your knotting, and even if you use paracord as such, you can do a lot of these projects using paracord. But if you're like me, a real traditional fanatic, then to be honest, this is a really great book to have. And what I will do is in the description below, I will put a link in so that you can see exactly what is in the index of this book. The contents are all here, and what I will do is I will list the contents here so that you can see exactly what you will be getting if you actually buy this book. And to be honest, it is worth it. Seriously, I have done some projects before from this book, and they are on my YouTube channel. But what we'll do now is we'll go and have a look at this book. First of all, it's a nice size. I found this one a little bit too small. I don't know why. It was just a little bit too small for me. But I do like this particular size. I think simply for the fact is when you open the book, it actually stays open. Whereas this one here, I kept having to put something sort of heavyish across it to keep the pages open. Whereas this one doesn't need that so much. I'm not sure that's important, but that was my feelings of it. So let's have a look at some of the things that we've actually got in this book. So if I go to my first cut off piece of paper, and what have we got? Oh yes, you know, I've just selected some things at random here, and we've got a bell rope worked with 8 ends. So in other words, if you've ever wanted to make yourself a bell rope, this is the book. This book will start you off onto that journey of frustration of making bell ropes. Why do I say frustration? Because sometimes knotting can be very frustrating. And then if you look on the left hand side here, for those of you who recognise it, yes, we have the dreaded star knot. Hey? Everybody puts this one off until eventually they do it, and once you've learnt the star knot, it's easy. It's a lovely little knot to learn. So yes, so in this book, and what this book does is, let's see, let's have a look at the bell rope itself. If I go in here, and I don't think you can see it too clearly, but on the left hand side here, in different colours so that it just stands out a little bit, it tells you the materials that you are required for making this particular bell rope. It tells you a list of all the knots used, and if they're not actually on the same page as the actual instructions itself, it will refer you to another page. And then, as you can see here, we've got nice detailed instructions on how to do the various aspects of our bell rope. So that's one item that I really like. Everybody loves a bell rope. Let's see, let's have a look at the next one. Oh, a side fender. A side fender using the Crown Senate. So we actually have a section in this book on actually making fenders. And, you know, and a lot of people do enjoy making a fender. And if I just go through, you can see here more instructions on fenders. And then we've got a different type of fender here. And there are various fenders as we go through. And then, and we love a bow fender. Everybody loves a bow fender. And so once again, in here, you've got instructions on how to make yourself a nice bow fender. And don't forget, just because you're using a hefty rope, there's no reason why you can't make yourself a bow fender using smaller cordage. Just adapt. That's all I say, you know. And this book is just a fantastic... It's one of these books where you think, oh, I'll dive in and have a look, and then all of a sudden you end up grabbing a piece of cordage and you start making something. And that's the beauty of this book. It guides you through from beginning to end, or just dip in it every now and again to get some ideas. Or if you forget a certain knot, it's another great little book for different knots. Decorative knots, that is. Mainly decorative knots. And then let's go to the next section here. Oh, and everybody loves... I've made a few cat of nine tails in my life. And, you know, once you can make a cat of nine tails... And don't forget, if you want to make a ditty bag... Basically, a ditty bag... The handle of a ditty bag is a cat of nine tails. So, you know, another... great thing to learn. And put it this way, if you get into decorative rope work, you will, seriously, you will make yourself a cat of nine tails. And then when you've made a cat of nine tails, you will go on and make yourself a ditty bag. And there are parts of the ditty bag that you will absolutely hate. But boy, you absolutely feel brilliant at the end of it when you see your finished result and you are proud of that particular item. And also the other thing that I like about a ditty bag as opposed to a cat of nine tails is that I've made a few ditty bags as well in my time. And the wonderful thing about a ditty bag is it's a way of showing off your knot knowledge and also putting new knots in and designing your ditty bag so it's a little bit different to somebody else's ditty bag. So yeah, here we have a section on the cat of nine tails, and the cat of nine tails is basically a ditty bag handle. I don't know if it's actually got the ditty bag in here, but what I will do is, like I said earlier on, I will put in the description a link to where you can see all the index of this book. And so let's go over. There's a section on belts here. So if you want to make yourself a decorative belt, that is included in here as well. And let's see, another one that I've taken out. Ah, yes, here's an interesting one. One thing that I found, especially now as opposed to when I first started, was knot boards. I find knot boards rather interesting now. And in this section of the book here, it tells you how to actually build a knot board. So if you've got some woodworking skills, little bit of reference here on how to make yourself a knot board. And the other thing about a knot board is that it is also another great place for you to show off the different knots that you can do. And then let's see, we go on to another section here that I've highlighted. Oh, here we go. We love this section. This section is on mats. Okay? Mats are wonderful ways of using up old rope. However, using nice new rope doesn't half make a mat look good as well. The only trouble is people like to stand on them. But mats can be used for hot plates. They can be used as mats. So whatever you want a mat for, this little section in here on this book has a whole section on different mats. Even to the point where here you can make yourself a little rope mat for your lapel, should you wish. And then going through, there's the ocean plate mat. There's also a thump mat. And then as we go through, and you can see, also shows how to do the side splice for finishing a mat. So yeah, to be honest, this is a really, really wonderful little book that if you enjoy, especially if you enjoy decorative knots, if you really enjoy traditional looking stuff, then this book really is the must-have book because it will show you many, many traditional rope work projects. But if, say for example, I know some of you who watch this are paracord mad, don't be put off by this book because it doesn't mention the word paracord. Maybe it does inside, I don't know. But what I can tell you is that many of the projects in here can also be done using paracord. And so yeah, to be honest, as a little reference book, a book to dive into, it's wonderful. to be honest, stars out of 5. I'll give it a 5 stars, this particular book. What's on the back of it? Also, the other thing about Des Paulson as well is, did you know this? 1, he always wears his red hat. I don't think I've ever seen him without his red beret on as such. Been to a few guild meetings. He's there, and he's there with his red beret on. The other thing as well is that he has a knot museum. And I don't know, to be honest, I don't know much about the knot museum itself other than it is in a shed, and I believe it won Shed of the Year award for under some category. And so therefore, yeah, Des Paulson has got I think it's a huge shed actually, of knotting memorabilia, examples, etc. and very old stuff as well. He's been in the industry a long time. He has done knotting for a very, very long time, and so therefore over that time he has collected stuff that is of interest to anybody that is a knot tyer. I don't know whether you can just pop in and see his shed stroke museum, or if you have to book in advance, but have a look online, do a search for Des. If you do a search for Des Paulson Knotcraft, his website will come up, and I'm sure on that somewhere it will give you a link to whether or not you can actually visit and see his museum. So anyway, that brings me to the end of this. So if, say for example, you see either of these 2 books for sale, grab them. Seriously, grab them. This one, I rated this book a long time ago, a fantastic little book, but I will rate this one even more simply for the fact is it's bigger, more projects. I'm not sure it's got more information, but it tells you how to tie the knots, etc. And so, yeah, I really, really rate this book. And to be honest, it has pride and place in my library, very close to my Ashley's Book of Knots. So anyway, don't forget, more information in the description below, and I'll see you again next time. So once again, thanks very much for watching. If you enjoyed it, if you hated it, you know the routine. And please do leave me a comment down below if you've made some of these projects, because I'd be interested to hear what you have to say. Thanks very much then. Bye-bye.